Welcome. This is the Nexstar Coaching and Tracking Manager tutorial. I'm going to walk you through each step. As you go through this, I'll have a space in here with each segment. I'll segregate a space so that you'll have time to do your own setup. I'll give you about 5 or 10 seconds in between each space. You can stop it and pause it and go from there. So this will be a complete tutorial with all of the steps plugged into it. So we're going to start from the first tab. If you want to read about how to use the Coaching Tracking Manager, you can go ahead and read this all the way through here. But I'm going to go ahead and do a audio and a visual one tutorial for you on how to set it up anyway. So the first tab you want to go to is the Company Setup tab. So we'll click on the Company Setup tab, go ahead and put in your company name. And then you'll do this after you've done your profit pricer. So if you haven't finished your profit pricer, you need to finish your profit pricer to set this up. Because inside your profit pricer, you're going to determine, now this is for by department. So if you have a plumbing service department, an HVAC service department, an electrical service department, these are department specific, okay? Because each one of your departments is going to have a different efficiency. If you remember going through the profit pricer, you had a different efficiency in each one of your departments. You also had a different head count in each department. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll go to the MP11 tab and look for that department for that sold day goal, for that minimum sold day goal. And you'll plug it in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put in 4. 4 would represent a 50% efficiency. Okay? Now if you had a 37.5% efficiency, that would be 3 hours. If you had a 40% efficiency, that would be 3.2 hours. How do I get that efficiency? I divide the number of sold hours by 8 hours in a day. That efficiency is also going to come from your MP4 tab in your profit pricer. That's what's going to dictate what your efficiency is. And this will be spelled out for you on the MP11 tab, as I've stated right here. All right, so go ahead and do that, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so now we're going to jump over here into that. You're going to have to have a tool to track this information with. So Nexstar has created the timesheet. Now, I don't care how you're doing it. If you're doing it about electronic, I totally get the electronic side, guys. And yes, Nexstar has created a timesheet. If you're using an Apple device, this timesheet is developed inside the Apple phone. So it'll be emailed into you every day. Otherwise, use a piece of paper. Use this timesheet, just copy it. Scroll down here, it goes from right here to right here, and this is the timesheet. And each column represents a point in time in the day, represents a call. Each column represents a call, and they just fill out this timesheet. Now we do have a timesheet tutorial for this, so check the website for the timesheet tutorial on how to fill the timesheet out. All right. But you always get a copy of it here inside your Coaching Tracking Manager if you're ever looking for your timesheet. This is where it's located. Okay, I'm going to skip this month by week and this month by tech. And I'm going to jump over here to the Technician 1. Now, with each technician, you're going to customize this. You're going to have a spot up here to put in the technician's name. So I'm just going to say Jim. Jim. Okay, is Technician 1. And then I can also come down here, and I recommend you do this. Just go ahead and tag this as Jim's tab. That way, when you get Jim's timesheet, you can fill out his information on a daily basis. You'll notice that this information right here, these line items right here, match the timesheet exactly right here. Okay? So your technician is going to total up the hours paid every day. So the person entering this information will take the totals from your technicians, okay? Your technicians will be, you make your technicians do this. Don't do this job for them. This is their job. There's a purpose and a reason why we want them to do this. Because as we come into the coaching part, we also want them to fill out this section of the timesheet. Because these are the portions that we coach them on. So every day, they're going to fill out how they did on each one of these coaching sections. So that's why this timesheet is critical to your performance of your technicians in the field and to keep them focused on a daily basis. Okay? So you would enter in the information into here each day that the technician works. You just put in his hours paid for the day. I'm just going to go ahead and make one up for Jim here. It says, okay, 8 hours. He's on the job 6 hours. He sold, let's say, 4 hours. He ran 3 demand calls. And a total demand money call, that is a call converted. So when he ran a call, that's a call ran. It's a demand call. This here is a demand money call. That means he converted it. So I'm going to say he converted 2 of them. Okay? And if you run a HVAC department, they're going to run service partner calls. And you could possibly be running service partner calls for your plumbing or electrical department too if you have service agreements for those 2 departments. Okay? But for right now, Jim didn't run any of those service agreement calls. And he had 0 callbacks. Didn't run any callbacks. And his total sales were $1,500. Okay? Now, how many tasks did he sell? That's the number of tasks in your flat rate book. Should have talked to your coach about this already. You have to have a flat rate book that identifies the number of, the tasks that a guy is going to be using. So let's say Jim sold 6 tasks. He didn't sell any service agreements, and he did not generate any technician leads. So you can see after the first day, Jim's conversion rate is 66%. His flat rate tasks per call are 3 because he converted 2 calls. He had 6, so he's got an average of 3 tasks that he sells per converted call. His average dollar per task is $250, and his sold hour to on the job time is 66.67%. And that represents hours on the job to hours sold. Okay, and that's important. And you'll get into more of that as you start understanding how to coach from this form. But you got to start first capturing the information from the technician's timesheets, and then you have to input that information into this coaching tracking manager. Now we're going to come over here now. Knowing what Jim did for one day that's cool. You're going to fill this out every day. Usually this is the trade administrator's job, the person that is processing all of the technician's invoices. They're also processing the technician's time card. And from that time card, they're going to be entering this information into the coaching tracking manager. So that's the person that does this, not the service manager. It's the trade administrator position, we call it. I don't want my service manager doing clerical work, but I do want my service manager getting this report every week so that he can coach his technicians. And I'll get into coaching right now, because right now there's not much to coach on, because Jim's average is 66% efficient and the shop average is 66% efficient. So Jim and the shop are one person right now because there's only one tech input into here. So now I'm going to jump over to Tech 2. I'm going to go ahead and put in Joe. Okay, that's Tech. And on Monday, Joe worked 8 hours. He was on the job 5. He sold, he sold 3 hours. He ran 2 demand calls, and he closed 2 demand calls. Okay. He also ran a callback. And his total sales here were $1,200. Okay. And his tasks, flat rate tasks per call, flat rate tasks sold for the day, were 5. and his service agreements were 1, and his technician generated leads were 0. So now what you can see here is now you have your shop average and you have your tech average right over here. So now you can start using this to coach your technicians on which stat does he need to be coached on. Well, the shop average is 80%. Jim's average was 66. Joe, let's go ahead and just change this name down here to Joe. Joe's average is 100% conversion rate. He ran 2 calls, converted 2. Now, he also had a callback. Now, these callbacks don't count against you on conversion rate. He had a callback, and that's a coaching issue that we'll talk to him about, but it may not be his callback that he ran. Another tech may have had a callback. Maybe Jim was off that day, so Joe had to run Jim's callback. So running a callback does not hurt the technician in his conversion rate, because we don't count it as a demand call ran. It's not a demand call, it's a callback. When we first ran that call and closed it, it was a demand call, but it's no longer a demand call. Okay? Now, there is a caveat to this. If Joe runs this callback, okay, and he closes something on this callback, I will convert this up here to a 3 calls and 3 calls. So I'll still give him a conversion. He can turn this into a call ran and a converted call if he sells something on a callback. Okay? So I'm going to put it back to 2 and 2. That's how the program works. So you always want to make sure anytime they're doing a conversion, there was a call ran with it. All right? So then, nothing to coach Jim here on conversion rate. He's perfect, right? Or Joe on conversion. Now, shop average is 2.75 tasks per call. Looks like Joe's falling a little bit under that. He's at 2.5. His average dollar per task is $2.40, and the company average is $245.45. And Jim's sold hour on the job time is 60%, and the company average is 63.64. Okay? So this is telling you that Jim's not selling as many tasks per call. So what you do is you scroll down here and your coaching card tells you what to coach him on. So you're going to coach Joe on flat rate tasks per call. And here are the coaching cards. Now this is something that you're going to learn at Service Management School, okay, which teaches the technicians or that teaches the managers how to coach a technician and what to coach him on. Okay, so we've identified the stat that he is below the company average. Now, just because I have 2 techs in this, think of this as being 10 techs, because I'm not measuring Joe against Jim. And just to prove that point, I'm going to add another tech here. I'm going to go ahead and put in, I'm going to make this Bob. Put Bob in here. And I'll change this up here and make this Bob. And on Monday, Bob ran 8 hours. He was on the job 7 hours. He's sold 3.5 hours. Ran 1 call, closed 1 call. Didn't run any callbacks. Sold $1,000. You had 1 task, no service agreements, no lead generation. Okay? So now here, Bob is at 100% conversion. Company average is 83.33. So Bob doesn't need help on conversion. He converted the call. However, he had 1 task per call. The company average is 2.4. So what am I going to focus with Bob? I'm going to focus on task per call. He's going to spit it out right here and tell us. And we're going to focus on the explore step, the add-on selling and the present step. Is he asking the right symptoms, lifestyle questions? Is he asking questions, period? Is he uncovering findings? That's what you're going to learn in this coaching card section. You get to the service management side, so you can start coaching your technicians to perform on exactly where they need help at. No sense talking to him about conversion rate. He's exceeding the company average. No sense talking to Joe about conversion rate. He's exceeding company average. Now Jim, he's below company average. So I got to talk to Jim about conversion rate. So is he showing empathy in the greet step? Is he handling the price objection in the present step? Does he understand the advantage of the flat rate pricing? Does he basically believe in your pricing? Outlining the options for a customer. Did he ask for the sale? Does he know how to ask for the sale? Okay? So these are the things that happen as you fill this out. You'll get this information, and at the end of the week, you're going to have a coaching meeting with your technician, but you won't have that unless you fill this out, because you won't know what to coach him on. And this will pinpoint exactly what to coach your technician on. Okay? So then, what that's also going to do is that all rolls up to, now this has room for, I believe, 20 techs as you go across here. You have room for 20 techs here. Let's just verify that. Yeah, 20 technicians. Sorry, because we broke Excel by making this program. So 20 is the most it can take. Now you have another one here. You have a couple more tabs here that you can look at. So you can look at how your company performed on Monday. They were 83% efficient. Okay? Or conversion rate, they're 83%. Their flat rate tasks per call were 2.4. So you can see how they did. And then you can see how they performed. You go to the next week, and you'll start seeing that. So you can see this on a daily basis. And then it'll show you where it is on the week as well. Okay? Then you'll have this by tech. So you can see where your techs are performing lined up here as you go through this process. And it'll show them their conversion rate as per technician. So you can see that, you may want to pick out, okay, who are all my techs that need help with conversion rate? So I'd pick out Jim and maybe this guy here because he's got 0 because I haven't filled out anything in there. But maybe you just have a class for conversion with these guys, how to focus on that. And then how do you improve your task per call, and you work with these guys on that. So you're pinpointing your focus on this. Now this is important because this is a 10-minute meeting that you're going to have once a week. Now this is going to get into the service management school, where they teach you about doing the 10-minute meeting with your technician, 7-minute meeting, 5 minutes. It shouldn't be more than, mine were 7 minutes, but 7 minutes is a good size meeting. Everybody stands up. You basically show them where they need to improve, and you show them how to improve it. Now, this information, as I come down here on the timesheet, you notice this all looks pretty familiar here, right? This looks a lot like this right here. Well, it's exactly like that right there. There's a reason for that. Because if I'm focused on Jim doing conversion rate, Jim's going to do the conversion rate every day. He's going to know on his daily timesheet what he did for conversion. So we've got him focused, and we brought him back to the training that we did with him this week to make sure that he's improving on this. So he's going to see this every day if he's making improvements or not. Okay? So he's going to, and we gave him the math formula. You take your sold up, your calls sold, and you divide it by your calls ran, and that's going to give you your conversion rate. So they fill this sheet out. So they run total number of calls converted. So you divide this into that, and boom, you got your conversion rate, right? So, anyways, that's why the timesheet and have this timesheet is so critical, and to not shortcut this timesheet. Make this happen for you. Okay? But it's important. It's part of your training. You're not going to improve the technician until you can identify where the problems are with him. All right? So that is the coaching and tracking manager. And these are step-by-steps. Get with your business coach and walk through this. Get your service manager, and you go with him to the service management school so that he understands what he's coaching the technicians on. Now, that's assuming that your technicians have gone through the Nexstar service system and they understand how to deliver service to the customer, because that's where the nomenclature is going to come from. All of our nomenclature from our cards here are going to come from the nomenclature of the service system class. Whether it's the HVAC service system class or the plumbing and electrical service system class. Okay? Now, I filled this out as if it was a plumber and electrician. If you were a HVAC company, generally, you're going to be running a lot of service agreements calls. And that's what this section here is for. You ran a service partner call and you converted a service partner call. Now, the definition of that is you collect a payment for the agreement. That's not a converted call. Okay? Whatever money you collected for the agreement is not an automatic converted call. It's what he collected, what he sold while he was on the job. That is a converted call. From there, this is your coaching and tracking manager, and get started on it. Get with your coach. If you have any questions, go back through this with your techs, have them understand it so that they understand what they're supposed to do. Their responsibilities are the timesheet. The trade administrator fills out the information from the timesheet into here, and your service manager receives this sheet by technician each week so that he knows what to coach the tech on down here on the coaching card, and also what to praise him on. Okay? So we don't only just have to beat them up. It's a good thing to praise them on what they're doing well too. Okay. Hope this helps.